One part of the information isn't getting relayed, so interpretation isn't done with complete authenticity. Plus you have the Starship Enterprise when it gets hit by an alien missile, the control panel starts sparking and all the smoke comes off the control panel and it's going back and forth. Well, that can create abnormal chatter on some of the wires that jam and confuse communication. Exactly the same thing in the body. If you've got a scar in the body from trauma, it can be like a tear on the radar screen, which means that we're not getting complete communication input to the processing center, or we can simultaneously be lobbing information onto the telephone line that should not be there, which contaminates the input. And scars are profound. So we have our colleague here, friend colleague, that has had a series of physical challenges as it relates to a variety of different things that we don't have 3 or 4 hours to go into at a minimum. So we're going to dig right in. Have you had any surgeries?
Yes.
What are they? Just the top 10. No, just
Cholecystectomy.
Okay.
Lower back. Left shoulder.
Okay.
The big ones.
Okay, that's good. That's good. That's good. Okay, so whether a scar is surgical or whether it's accidental, it's basically the same thing, is what it is. So let's take a look at what our colleague can or cannot do. I'm a big fan of objectifying what they can or cannot do because we need a reference point for change. So if you would mind, can you just stand that please? And tell us when the shoulder happened and when the surgery occurred.
The injury to surgery.
The surgery.
The surgery was 2007.
2007, so that's a relatively new injury, 4 years. And what about the discectomy?
It was 2006.
It's a relatively new injury as well. That's only 5 years ago. So we need to kind of keep that in context here. Okay, so let's put your hands forward. Let's just kind of duplicate the test that we did yesterday in a couple of our specimens that donated to Body of the Science. And let's just kind of see what we see. Now, I know he's an athletic guy, which means that he prides himself on feeling pain, unlike other people, and pushing through it. I know that. So in doing the bilateral shoulder abduction test, where we only go to first tissue barrier, there's going to be a tendency to push through it because he's used to pushing through boulders and mowing things down, right? So we've got to kind of ratchet this back to make sure that we get an accurate test. So I'm going to have you, when I ask you to, keyword there so we don't jump the gun, move both hands to your side, and at the point at which you have a first tissue barrier, you'll stop, because that's the you. You can use more energy and willpower to move it forward, but that's not really how you perform in normal life. There's a difference. We've got to make sure that we stop at the first tissue barrier. So let's have you slowly raise your arms to the side, and I want you to stop. You're going too fast at the first tissue barrier, and only you know where that is, and it may be different. Are you using energy to do this? When he says, yeah, that means he is, because I know the mentality.
Thank you. Gosh.
Yeah, so this is it, right? Looks like he's ready to do the swan dive. All right, is this normal or abnormal? Yeah, it's abnormal. You should be able to go directly up overhead. So what I think of, you put your arms down. What I think of is that doing the activities of daily living, they cannot be done safely, which means that he's vulnerable to injury, and that it takes a lot more energy to get through the day because we don't have normal range of motion. So those are the things that I'm kind of thinking. So let's put that aside. The next thing that we'll do is that I'm going to have him do the lunge test where he steps out, touches the knee, comes back to the starting position, left, right. So let's just see what we see whenever you're ready. Okay, let's go up to the right side. and you can stop. So I think we've seen everything we need to see here. Okay, so number one, he was cautious. His body didn't really want him to do that. He needed to check in with himself and be very conscious about the movement. All right, so there's some reluctance to do that. We could see that there was instability moving down. The control of the movement wasn't there, which means that there's energy leaking. Plus, he's vulnerable to injury from unanticipated movements. Had difficulty reversing the lordosis, getting back to the original position, which suggests that he doesn't have good core stability. So the movements that are made with the lower extremity are transferring the stress of movement that should be in the large muscles and large joints of the pelvis onto the small joints and muscles of the low back and the SI joint. So we're thinking a lot of extra wear and tear is going there. All right, so let's have you, if you would, lie on your back face up with your head down there. You can't really see this, but the right foot's flared out more than the left, for sure. So I'm going to lift this up and the left. Right. So this kind of confirms it. Can everybody see that? Which means that the feet are kind of like this, so he's going to be walking like this, so that the subductor muscles, remember those? So the subductors are a little bit tight, are now becoming hip flexors. And what that does, that's going to change everything north of the equator there, and the body's going to have to kind of find its way into dealing with gravity somehow, way, shape, or form. So we've got an extra load there because of that. So let's also, let's just go through lower body upregulation. Did you do lower body upregulation on him today? All right, so you've also done hip upregulation as well, because of yesterday. So let me just try a couple of muscles that we have not done. Okay, hold this up here. Take my hand away, keep your head back on the table, and don't let me push. That's a strong tail, so let's lift this up, back down. We've got the battle of the titans here on the table. He really doesn't want me to do this. The competition is on. Get you relaxed there. All right, so it's the left shoulder. So let me come in here, and we'll check the right side, and we'll go through a series of tests here. Okay, hold this, and don't let me push. Okay, that's strong. We'll drop this. So he's already fighting it. Testosterone, the challenge is on. Bend your elbow. Okay, drop your hand towards the floor. And I'll tell you when to resist, all right? This is pretty good. See, this is really pretty good for spinatus. Tightness still on the left here. Okay, can everybody see that? That's good. That's still good. So this is subscapularis, which is like a C5. So this is weak here. All right, so our profile is that we have shoulder abduction is half what it should be. We have altered lunge bilaterally. We have tight external hip rotators on the right. And we have internal shoulder subscapularis weakness on the right side. We've got discectomy, and we also have a left shoulder surgery. So that's kind of like a profile. So the thing that I'm always thinking about the patient is, where are the wires pulled that don't allow me to see him in his least compensated state? Because unless I know that, can you put your finger on where the scar is on the, oh, I can see the scar. It's like right there. Yeah, I can see. Okay, so here we go. Hold this, don't let me push. So this is the discectomy. Hold that, that's a strong indicator muscle. So I'm going to localize, let's have you stand up, and let's have you turn around. I think that's better if you don't mind. So this is going to come up, and everybody can see that he's got the scar right there. All right, so let's hold this, don't let me push. Strong indicator muscle. I'm going to contact this, don't let me push. Okay, can everybody see that? There's nothing there. So when my little laser goes into his antenna, this goes down. That means that this is an active scar. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the laser here with the frequencies and the wavelength, and I'm going to place it on the scar. And as soon as I place it on the scar, don't let me push. this muscle automatically now gets strong, which means that the body really likes what I'm doing. And I'm going to, every 5 seconds, test the strong indicator muscle that was weak before I put the laser on. And when this goes weak, it means the body's had enough laser. It's a way of dosing the laser itself. And I'm not going to decide whether it's 1 minute, 5 minutes, 30 seconds. I don't know the answer to that. Just every 5 seconds, I'm going to test it. And when it's done, it's done. The body controls the conversation here. Okay, so that goes right there. And that was like 37 seconds. And one thing about when we do these evaluations, we need to make sure that we never bias it by how far we think we need to use the laser. And it doesn't mean if it takes 2 minutes that we're doing the wrong thing. It just means that that's what the body needs to get to where we need to go. So let's go back and let's recheck our work, which is what we do with every procedure. So I'm going to localize here. This was weak last time. Don't let me push. It's not even the same arm.
Wow.
All right, so what I want you to do, I want you to lie on your back, face up, if you would. And let's go back and let's see what changes that we have created. So we'll start here with the pull this and go into the subscapularis. Okay, so now that's nice and strong. And let's take a look at the feet. Remember what we saw before? All right, so let's take a look and let's see what we got. Hold this. What do we notice? It's dramatic. It's dramatic. This is now normal. Can you feel the difference when I do this?
I can, yeah.
You can. I mean, this
Wow.
is like dramatic. Okay, so let's have you come off the table. And we'll stand up if you would, and step away from the table. And now we'll just repeat our test. So let's do the bilateral shoulder abduction test first. So we'll go hands straight ahead. And we know where that was before, right? So let's check now against then. There may be no change. I don't know. So let's raise your arms until overhead. Just up, 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 up. Just go as far as you can comfortably go. Up, 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 up. Okay, now is that different than it was before?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like how about like like this? And remember, this was the shoulder that had surgery on it. Okay, so let's put your arms down like that. And now we're going to have him do the lunge and kind of pull up the video that we saw just a couple of minutes ago. And whenever you're ready, let's do the video. So this is a different body. This is a totally different body. Left side one more time. You can see the confidence that he has now. His body is giving him permission to be able to move. Can you tell the difference?
Yes.
Yeah, see, it's crazy, isn't it? Just imagine had someone have done this 5 years ago on him. The wear and tear that would have been spared on his body from a 37-second procedure. And he may already have had all sorts of care. But again, having not done this, there's no other way that this could have been accessed, this global body-wide percentage, had we not done this. So look at the power that you have at your disposal. If all you do is this technique and none other technique, just imagine what you can do on the long-term health of your patients by doing this. I mean, it's amazing when you think about it. I mean, and the most incredible thing is that all I did was kind of run a technique and follow the directions, and the laser did the work for me. I just showed up as the clinician, you know, and ran the algorithm. Is that insanity? Thank you. Have a seat. We'll come back later.
Thank you.
Yes.
You know, one of your seminars that we did to you, you taught us how to release the scar.
How do you feel?
That's what I do.
You going to Disneyland?